Do, 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 do. Alright. So tonight, before I go back to work tomorrow morning, and who knows what the next 3 or 4 days hold for streaming, wanted to get into some stuff here. Hey Haas, thanks for the follow, appreciate that. But wanted to get into some Boros Burn without the monkeys, without the Darcy's, just kind of go back to basic Boros. Only running 19 lands in this version. We'll see how much that comes back to bite us in no Mishra's Bauble, no Regavan nonsense. Though I'm finding those decks actually quite very good. They've consistently 3-2'd, 4-1'd, or 5-0'd. Doing a lot of that off camera. But figured tonight we get back into Monastery Swiftspear plus Goblin Guide plus 4 Eidolon in the main, and then back to Skewer the Critic's Riftbolt. 4 Searing Blazes I still think is a necessity. I think a couple of Skull Cracks isn't terrible in the current meta. 3 Lightning Helixes doesn't seem terrible. You could obviously cut another Helix for 20th land if you're so feeling inclined. Sideboard, couple copies of Deflecting Palm. It's been a card that I've been somewhat impressed with recently. 3 copies of Smash. I do like 4 in the current meta with Hammer Time, but I still think Hammer Time is a difficult matchup even with 4 of those. 2 copies of Path to Exile. I know a lot of people have been talking to me about going back to Path to Exile over Prismatic Ending. I'm opting to run a split in this particular list, and then 3 copies of Core Firewalker because red decks are currently resurging a little bit. I've seen quite a bit of burn. Although to be fair, the matches I played last night, played against Black-Red Luris, Black-White Reanimator, Murktide, 12 Whack, General Zoo, Storm, Hammer Time, Murktide again, Heliod, and Tron. And then played against Glimpse Cascade, Tron, Traditional Burn, and then Jund. So only a few red decks in there from what I played last night, but we'll make do with what we got tonight. See what happens. What's up, Gigi? How you doing tonight? So we'll see how Traditional Burn does tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to get through the league before I gotta call it a night. So that said, let's get into the mat. Some gameplay here. I'll get through as much of the league as I can tonight. So where do you fall on the whole burn with Ragavan, burn versus Darcy? Have you been able to play anything off camera the last couple of days? I haven't seen any new content posted on your channel that I've seen. Could be wrong on that. Those of you that don't know, GG is probably the #1 burn content creator on... Oh, I apologize. You do actually have a new video up. Posted 3 hours ago. So, my bad. Haven't had a chance to check that one out yet. Pre-Ravnica 3 Modern. Something like that, Space Marine. How you doing tonight? Oh. Yeah, that's the nice thing about... Well, where are you working anyway now these days, Space Marine? Yeah, that's the nice thing about when I got my undergrad and grad school done in one shot. Like, I pretty much don't have to worry about going back to school unless I go for a CPA license. Sounds pretty reasonable. We're up against a Luris deck, so definitely keeping Walgreens or a lead. Okay. Yeah, I think you mentioned that before. Oh, alright, well, so I don't really want to fetch into a whatchamacallit, but I think at this point I really kind of have to. So it's kind of awkward. I really don't want to give them the extra mill, but and our creatures really aren't doing anything this turn, but are it's kind of awkward playing Goblin Guide and not attacking with it, but there's no sense in giving them a free land. So, no Archive Trap, so we got that going for us at least. And, okay. Deed Poem's been reasonable, like... Sure. Kind of weird timing, but... Fatal Push. Alright, so they're on... one of the people I follow on Twitter plays... wow. Yikes. So they're spitting and sputtering a little bit. Okay, well. Could bolt the crab, but, you know. Opponent's got an Archive Trap on top now. Good card to know about. And I presume they just block. I guess they can't really block, can they? Sure. Doing this because I'm just playing Eidolon and I don't particularly care about getting that off the board because we know they're not drawing a land, so they're either going to have to bounce this. Yep. And if they just want to keep spending a land to mill us for 3, I think I'm fine with that. Especially since they don't have any black mana for Crypt Incursion, which is like the only card game 1 I think that matters outside of them having a really, really good mill draw. And they're just kind of spitting and sputtering there. Alright, so... Don't think we have lethal here, but... Can put them to the point where they can't cast any non-Archive Trap spells, which I think I'm perfectly fine with. Because I don't think there's any way for them to come back from this. We're at 39 cards in deck. Guess they get a little bit of information on the way out. But this also means that they're... Why would they fetch... Yeah, not going to give you that information because that can just kill you. Well, hopefully you finally found a position that you actually like. So... Let's see... Crypt Incursions, I think, are the main cards we have to worry about with them. Whirling Vortex doesn't seem terrible. Prismatic Ending doesn't seem great because they really don't seem to have much in the way of permanence other than the crabs anymore. Searing Blaze isn't amazing, but it's okay in some spots. They only have 8 targets, so maybe shave a couple of those, bring those in. Kind of go like that. This hand does nothing, unfortunately. This hand isn't super exciting. I think it's between Riftbolt and Skewer the Critics. I'm gonna put Riftbolt back. It's one of the things about these particular versions of Burn is I just don't like how few turn 1 plays you have. Just go ahead and bolt this. Yeah, sure. How many archive traps do you have? Alright, well, whatever we're playing this turn would likely get drowned and locked. So Eidolon's either going to get drowned or it's going to get drowned, so we may as well let them counter it. Not the most exciting play. About the only other thing we could do is suspend Riftbolt, cast Lava Spike. That's not terribly exciting either, so... Not a real thing, not a real hard choice. You're either going to have to drown it or you're going to have to drown it, so... Crypt Incursion would currently gain them... Oh, they have Fracture Insanity, sure. They milled themselves? No, they milled us. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult finding a job you really, really enjoy, you know? Crypt Incursion for the win? And this is like your best chance, friend. I mean, I guess you only get... Oh, they just put Lurrus in their hand. Sure. Seems okay, I guess. So I feel like our opponent would have Crypt Incursioned us there if they could. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the thing here. And if they're waiting to mill more cards for a better Crypt Incursion, more power to them, I guess. Alright, Space Marine, have a good night, Wayne. Sure. Another Archive Trap? That could hurt a little bit. 20 cards exiled. That's painful. Alright, well, if they can mill us out this turn, we're just dead because we can't kill them during the upkeep, so... Alright, or that happens. Sure. Activate this, do that. Awkward. Alright. Sure. We have a counter spell of any kind. We're probably dead here. Holy wowzers. Alright, well. Sometimes pays to win. No pun intended. Do 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 do. So GG, if you're still here, what is your impression of traditional burn versus regular burn currently? Well, traditional burn versus Darcy Ragavan burn that I guess got started. I guess Spike started pushing that more than anybody. I know other people have played it, but it was really Spike that kind of put that build on the radar. Like really pushed Ragavan, Darcy, Mishra's Bauble kind of stuff. Raging Tilt Monster. I believe I've played against them before, but I don't remember what the heck they're on. Alright, they're on a Luris deck. Our hand is fine. You know what our opponent's on, obviously. Yeah, they definitely feel a little bit different. A lot more upkeep stops during with Alright, so looks like we're up against most likely Black-Red Rock. Could be Jund. Could be Grixis. I think I actually lost a Black-Red Rock last night. I took Bolt. Feels like not the correct card to take, but, you know, whatever. Even if you have a kill spell in hand, I feel you still take Goblin Guide there. But, you know. Okay, so they're up against, or they're... I guess Searing Blaze doesn't matter with them, so... Kill spell? Pirate Spell Bomb. Okay, Unholy Heat, sure. Pass the turn. See if we get Smallpox here. Leon is also a possibility. Wrench Mind. Think I... Boros Charm in response. Not that it particularly matters. Just going to pitch these two, I think. Sure, Spell Bomb's probably not relevant. That was a terrible draw. Of course they have a Smallpox, why wouldn't they, right? Put Lurrus in their hand? No, they can't. Alright, well, unless you have some way to gain life, you were just dead next turn. I guess Brutality, the most likely card in their main deck. Alright. So black, red, Lurrus, Rack. Alright, well, nobody really has a finish with this lately, so can presume Searing Blazes are likely pretty terrible. Roiling Vortex could be okay. Firewalker, probably would more likely want a couple copies of Smash, although that's... some ways that's like Searing Blaze. They can blanket if they really want to. I would suspect they're an Urza's Saga deck. So we'll just kind of submit like this. So the funny part is, GG, is I think, like, in a vacuum, I think the Goblin Guide Swiftspear version is a little bit weaker. I think it's better in situations where you're a pure racing situation, like Burn or Storm, or those situations. I think Goblin Guide version's a little bit better. Really hate mulliganing against the Pox deck. I think we keep it even though the hand's kind of garbo. Just because I hate mulliganing against Pox so badly. Well, that was the danger, right? Do that, immediately draw another land. Well, in a vacuum, yes, it can, but it's still kind of weak. I think Sanctifier hurts the Darcy version a lot more. Sure. That's kind of part of why I kept the hand I kept. Immediately draw another land. Why do they have Pirate Spellbomb? They have to be an Urza Saga version. You know, I laugh at how many people complain that let's kill this Luris now. I don't think we're winning this game, just for the record, but be the only time we have a chance to get in for a shot with Goblin Guides, so we may as well do it. Proceed to hand them the land. So people might be wondering why I'm not throwing out our burn spells, just because it's unlikely that we're to burn them out at this point. Probably should have put Luris in my hand, though. Yep, opponent was holding a discard spell for us to put Luris in our hand. Sure. is the one thing I don't like about Mill and Pox is they're just such Unholy Heat. Terminate. Sure. Makes for such boring games. Okay, so we're dead? Alright, well, good to know about Croxa. Not that I shouldn't have already suspected that card anyway, but... Don't know which is better, Smash or Prismatic Ending. Probably Smash still. I don't think we're beating a resolved Croxa unless we have their life total down low enough anyway. It's possible I was supposed to mulligan that hand, but especially being on the draw, I don't know that it was correct one way or another. This hand doesn't have any creatures either, but I still think we keep this one. This one's a little bit more functional, although they'll probably take our Bolt on one, and then the rest of our spells become a little bit more awkward. I actually forgot how awkward Skewer the Critics is sometimes when I'm not actually playing the card consistently. This is 12, 16 points of burn. Opponent doesn't typically deal that much damage to themselves with their mana base. So this is going to be a little bit of a slog. Don't think I actually fire anything off here. I think I just hold the bolt. It's kind of an awkward draw, but I do think we run it out even if it just immediately dies. Or gets hit by a smallpox or any other number of things. This matchup's generally pretty miserable, no matter who wins. Historically, the rack was favored against Burn. I don't know about the newer variants. Like, they do a little bit more damage themselves than the mono black rack used to. And I have beaten the rack before. It's a very grindy kind of, just not a whole lot interesting to it. Like, the only decision I really had to make last game was whether I should have cast the Skewer the Critics I had, rather than, hold them in my hand and let them potentially get discarded away. But that exposes us to taking more damage from the rack per turn. So, Riftbolt, I find usually I can manage. Skewer, especially in multiples, Skewer can be pretty miserable. Feels like we're getting smallpoxed here. Yeah. Which is not good for the home team. these skewers because they're so awkward. Alright, that was a good draw. Let's say, no play on one into... Yeah, felt like... Of course they had Wrench Mind here. So I feel like they would have brutality this last turn if they had it, so I'm just going to go ahead and suspend this Rift Bolt. Ah, now the Urza Saga comes out. So we probably have to go runner, Boros Charm into something here, or smash into something, because they're probably going to go make a Karnstruct, do some stuff. So, but I do apologize. I need to mute because I got a phone call to take.